We should start, Mandeep, yes?
So,
Yes, yes, sir.
so good evening, Namaste, President Flo, Mr. Shiv Khera. We will soon be joined by President FICCI. We have also FICCI past President, Mr. Harshvardhan Neotia, Shri Rajshri Billa ji, Flo President Janvi Phukan, my colleagues in FICCI, and to all of us attending the session this afternoon. Mr. Shiv Khera needs no introduction, and the overwhelming response to this session is a testimony to the efficacy and the impact of the work that he is doing as an author, educator, business consultant, and more importantly, as an influential, motivational speaker. All of us are passing through unprecedented phase of our life, our work, because of the COVID pandemic, which is causing unimaginable damage to the individual, national, and global economic order. While we all are in the same storm, we are in different boats, and the impact of this pandemic is felt differently. While the scientists and governments across the world are still looking for an effective vaccine for corona, the impact is actually pushing the light at the end of the tunnel a bit further every day. And people are impatiently waiting for the world to get back to the old normal. And in these trying times, it is not only the immunity of the body, but also the mental strength that is required to deal with the situation. All of us are looking for some coping mechanism to beat the current crisis and prepare for the future. To overcome challenges and accelerate success, we must understand how to cope with the current crisis, prepare for success and win, and motivate yourselves and others. And in this session, Mr. Shiv Khera is going to focus on these critical aspects, and I'm sure that his understanding and his communication of how we can actually address this is going to benefit all of us in the call and all of us participating. We will have a question and answer session post Mr. Khera's talk, and after that, Flo President will sum up the session and deliver the word of thanks. So a very warm welcome to you, Mr. Shiv Khera. He is an author, educator, business consultant, and much sought after speaker. He's taken his dynamic personal messages to opposite sides of the globe, from the US to Singapore. His 40 years of research and understanding has put millions on the path of growth and fulfillment. Over 8 million copies of his books have been sold, including the international bestseller You Can Win in 21 languages. He has many corporate clients, Lufthansa, HP, HSBC, Canon, Nestle, etc. And tens of thousands have benefited from his dynamic workshops over 20 countries, and millions have heard him as a keynote speaker. So, Mr. Khera, over to you.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir. I'm indeed grateful to you. With those kind words, welcome everybody. Folks, first of all, must make a disclaimer. At this time of the crisis, I don't know anybody who has all the answers. Certainly I don't. And I'm not, my academics are, I'm a BCom 3rd division. I failed my 10th, that's my academics. And I come from a business family. We had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working, and the mines got nationalized. And right from being a mine owner, we came on the street. Now, I didn't create the mines, I inherited them. And when the mines got nationalized, we came on the street. Street means street. My father had died when I was just in college. We were left with the liability and the assets were gone. And I was married 4 weeks then. I remember a year later, my daughter was born. I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. Well, I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money, and I failed in all 3. Finally, November 13, 1975, I'm sorry, I left India, went to US, initially went to Toronto, and started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door. For 1.5 years to 2 years, I was washing cars. And then by accident, I joined selling life insurance. And within 90 days, my manager was about to fire me. And that is the time there were some turning points which changed my life, and I'll share what they are. That's why I call this program called Turn Setbacks into Comebacks, because I've had 3 major setbacks in my life. And what made me come back, I moved to the US, got into 3 businesses, and I bought out a company out of California in 1984, started the New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. And that is where what my learning has been, I will share today. Okay, so with that in mind, folks, all I can say is this virus has gone from one city to another, covered the whole world. With overcrowded hospitals, shortage of supplies, orders getting canceled, factories are closing, unemployment going up, debt rate going up. This scenario has literally shaken up the whole world. Now, with that, people are uncertain. Nothing is predictable. There is no finish line right now. There is no finish line. So which is what is making people insecure. And the insecurity is leading to stress, anxiety, frustration, depression, and even anger. Now, all I can say is, folks, stress is both normal and natural. And anybody who says they don't have any stress, they belong in the lunatic asylum. Now, most important thing is, all stress is not bad. In fact, many times it is stress that makes us perform. Now, folks, if you notice an athlete at the Olympics, is he under stress? Answer is yes. If he was not, there's no way he could perform. Same thing, many of his real life or in the movies must have seen the thoroughbreds at the race course. When they're taking thoroughbreds into the cabin, what are they doing? They're all jumping like this. They're under very heavy stress. Now, the moment they get into the cabin and the bell rings, bang, the gate opens and they shoot. Now that's a thoroughbred. They perform. But you take a jackass to the race course. This jackass walks so coolly, relaxed, comfortable. He is not jumping up and down like a thoroughbred, but then he does not perform like a thoroughbred either. That's a jackass, will remain a jackass. Now, I just want to make one point very crucial is, folks, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. I repeat, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. Now, folks, all of us can handle stress. Everybody can handle stress. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. When stress becomes chronic, that is the time we start breaking down. Okay, now with that in mind, I just want to say something, and that is, let us not overrate this crisis and threat, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. I repeat, let us not overrate this crisis and threat, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. Now, this crisis has impacted us 3 ways. 1, our life. 2, our livelihood. And 3, our lifestyle. Now, how is it our life? Folks, none of us know who will be in quarantine next. Nobody knows. And 2, what we do, where we go, and who we meet could be a matter of life and death. I repeat, where we go, who we meet, and what we do could be a matter of life and death. That is what the impact is on the life is. Now, number 2 is our livelihood. See, everybody's income, either the incomes have gone down or jobs have been wiped out. Somewhere we've lost income. I was reading somewhere in Singapore, the manpower ministry has probably reduced 75% of the pay cuts right there. Now, with that in mind, even the governments are not collecting any taxes. They are also going bankrupt. Now, folks, we need to see who is the worst hit out of this crisis. Now, there are 3 kinds of people in this world. 1 is the super rich, 2, the mediocre, and 3, the poor. The worst hit are the poor. They're the daily wage earners. They work during the day, eat in the evening. They are the worst hit. Now, the second one is the super rich. They don't have a livelihood problem. They don't have a cash flow problem. Now, folks, I was reading Apple Computers has $250 billion in cash reserve. Now, they don't have a livelihood problem. I'd be surprised. including people like the Adani, the Ambani, they'd have a liquidity cash flow problem or livelihood problem. I'd be surprised. So they're the super rich. Now that leaves the mediocre, many people like me and some other viewers out there. Mediocres are also thinking, will the crisis finish before the money, or will the money finish before the crisis? Now, this is what forced people to think in terms of active and passive income. Now, when we do financial planning for our clients in the US, we were telling people, you must, to become financially independent, you must have passive income. What does that mean? I go to work, I get money. I don't go to work, I get no money. This is active income. But now people are saying, even if I don't go to work, I must get money, which is called passive income. And for that purpose, in our planning, we used to tell our clients, you must have 1 year of your income in liquid cash accessible within less than 24 hours. It is called emergency fund. Why? Because emergencies do not warn you in advance. Now, if we don't have it, it's a little too late, but going forward, that is the way we ought to plan it. Okay, now comes the next part is, people are talking of work from home. I had a banker come in the other day, and being essential services, I said, tell me, what percentage of your staff is working right now? He said, we're working with 30% staff. I said, are you working at 30% efficiency level also? He said, no, sir. We're working at 60, 70, 80% efficiency level. And he said, we're shooting for achieving 90% efficiency level with 30% staff. I said, how are you able to do it? He said, there were many people on manual banking before, especially the senior citizens. They didn't understand technology at all. He said, one by one, we are putting everybody on the digital platform, and we are able to work 70, 80, and 90% efficiency with 30% staff. So my next question was, if you can achieve 90% efficiency with 30% staff, then tell me, that means when the crisis is over, you won't need the balance 50% anyway. Why would you need them when you can achieve 90% with 30% staff? He said, sir, that could be a real issue. We have not faced it, but it could be a very real issue. Okay, now it comes to the next part is, people are talking for work from home. Now, folks, can every industry work from home? Answer is no. How does a manufacturing industry work from home? You cannot. How do you work in a construction industry from home? You cannot. But my next question was, working from home in IT and many other places, is that workable? Is it working all right? Now, here is the answer. This banker said to me, he said, we are doing it right now, but we are facing some problems and challenges, and that is the 80-20 rule applies. And that is only 20% people are responsible. They can work without supervision. 80% are not mature, which means they are not able to work without supervision. And also, even if you give them measurable targets to justify their salaries, you still have to monitor them. Okay, now that's one part. Now, question is, people who are not mature, they are considering a working from home is not a paid vacation. They need to understand that. So livelihood is a big, big, big question that is coming up. Now, the third is lifestyle. Now, folks, important thing is that till now, till the lockdown came in, all of us, we were all in the fast lane. We were all running, but where we were going, we didn't know, but we were going, we had no time. Now look at this, the amount of time-saving devices we have today, we've never had that many in history, and yet we don't have what? We don't have time. You know why? Because somewhere we messed up our priorities. And I'm not here just to give lectures here. I'm guilty myself. I messed up my own priorities. And when we mess up our priorities, we forget to distinguish between what's urgent in life and what's important in life. Now, urgent may or may not be important, and important may or may not be urgent. But the funny thing is, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. Look at this. Health is important, but it's not urgent. Exercising every day is important, but it's not urgent. Now, if I have a crucial meeting tonight and if I cannot exercise, it's not the end of the world. But if I ignore my health long enough, guess what happens? I'll end up in the hospital. Now, in life, relationships are important, but they're not urgent. Now, if I ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? We start talking to our lawyers. Folks, interesting thing is, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. Now, important thing is that what this crisis has done is, it has forced people to step backwards and say, buddy, we were running all right, but we need to see, were we running in the right direction? If we were running in the wrong direction, we were actually going away from our low goals in life. Now, people have realized that direction is much more important than speed. I repeat, direction in life is much more important than speed. Now, you ask people, why do you go to work? I go to work for my family. Why do you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in life? My family. Who are the most neglected? Also my family. What a joke. Sadly, the most important people become the most neglected too. And this crisis has said, buddy, wait, come back here. Start re-looking at your priorities. Now, wait a minute. The second part of priority is spending on discretionary and non-discretionary spending. We always heard till now, cash is king. Now, we didn't understand what it meant always, but now people have understood. It is better to have money in the bank than to have 50 shirts in your closet. It is better to have money in the bank than buy a car worth $250,000. This is what cash is king means. Now people have realized what their lifestyle change has to be done. Okay, now, there are only two references in history of a similar crisis, which is 100 years ago. One was a Spanish flu. I bet it's been talked about so much, I'm not going to talk about it, but 50 million people were dead. And it came in two phases. Initially in 1918 came and went away, and people said the danger is over. But it wasn't. It came in the second phase after 6 months and killed 50 million people. Why am I saying this? Because the lockdown is over and people say the crisis is over. It's not. Folks, in the US right now, there are 50 million people unemployed and close to 200,000 people dead. And we're touching 75,000 people dead in India too. And in US, they're saying the second phase is not even started. And in Melbourne, the second phase, they locked down there. And Singapore, South Korea, it has come back. So folks, don't drop your guard. That's all my message is. Now, the next part is, economically, the second reference point was our Great Depression of 1929. Banks failed. Stock market crashed, $100 became $15, and 15 million people were unemployed. 15 million. Now, 15 million 100 years ago is equivalent to 60 million today, because population then was only 120 million in the US. And folks, now here is a silver lining. Folks, experience has shown that whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. I repeat, whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. Now, during the Great Depression 100 years ago, when businesses failed, people had no money, there were some people who started their business, and today they have become household words in the US and in the world. Now, they had no money, no education, no risk-taking ability. They were not techies either. But what they had was, they were solution-focused people. Now, have you noticed there are some people in this world who are only problem focused? You know what that means? You give them a solution, they'll give you a problem. They have a problem for every solution. Now, I'm going to share with you 3 examples of the people. One was a man by the name of George Jenkins. In his neighborhood, he started an outlet for non-perishable durable goods. These 2 words are very important. Non-perishable durable. Why non-perishable? Because if they perish, he would lose money. Now, he did not have money to lose. And 2, durable means if they couldn't sell, at least they could use it in the family. This is how the man started. And today, his turnover is $30 billion. And his net worth is over $6 billion. And he has 1,000 outlets in the US. And the store is called Publix Supermarket. Go check in the Google. Second example was there were 2 brothers in California, Gallo brothers. They were struggling. They got some grapes, made wine out of it, but then nobody would buy it. They started selling wine 50% below market. And today, Gallo Wineries accounts for 25% of wine trade in the US, valued at $10 billion. Third example was a man by the name of Simplot. He had a patch of land in Idaho. He started cultivating potatoes. Now, what he couldn't sell, they ate, and what he couldn't eat started rotting. He could not afford the loss of rotten potatoes. He started freezing them. And today, he accounts for 33% of the French fries business in the US, with the highest customer being McDonald's. And he's worth $10 to $12 billion. Now, folks, I do not want to leave my viewers with the impression that if you and I start a business, all of us will become billionaires. That is not the message. The message is very clear. All these people who started then, they had no money, no risk-taking ability. They were struggling and they had major problems, but they were solution-focused. And all of us need to become solution-focused because there is opportunity today here. Now, think about it, folks. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Identical circumstances, how come some people break records while others break themselves? Now, this crisis has impacted us 3 ways. 1, physically, medically. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not a medical doctor. There's enough information going around. 2, economically. I'll just talk a little bit here because till now, the word was globalization, globalization, globalization. Now, the word has become localization, localization, localization. Why? Because till now, production was 20,000 miles away from consumption. And now all of a sudden, people have realized a producing country, if they blackmail the consuming country, they could be out of business in less than 24 hours. Folks, I just found out USA depends on China for 97% of the pharma products. 97% of pharma products. India depends on China for 81% of antibiotics. India depends on China for 70% electronics. Now countries have realized if a producing country blackmails me, I'll be out of business. I'll be thrown out 15 years away, 25 years away. So production must come closer to consumption. And 2 is people have realized that bottom line is more important than top line. Everybody was concerned, what is the turnover? Who cares for turnover? Bottom line is much more important than top line. And that is crucial. Okay, that is for economics. Now, the third is psychologically. Folks, the psychological part is the emotional part. Folks, people who are emotionally strong, they are coming out stronger from this crisis. And people who are emotionally weak, they're falling apart. WHO came up with a report that domestic violence has gone up by 50% because people who are emotionally weak, they're fighting at home. Now, let us look at the silver lining. How do we cope with the crisis? I have 9 steps. If I have time, I'll go all 9, but I will certainly go for 8 if I can. I'll go a little slow. So if you want to take this down, please do so. Step 1. Step 1 says Serenity Prayer. Folks, about 45 years ago, I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. There were 1,000 people. I was one of them. Dr. Peale came, looked at us, and he says, "You people appear so cool, calm, and comfortable. It appears nobody has a problem here." Then he asked, "Does anybody have a problem here?" Of course, everybody raised their hand. We all have problems. Who doesn't have it? Then he asked, "How many people would like to get rid of the problems?" Again, everybody raised their hand. Then he said, "On my way here, I came across a place where I saw some people. They were all stretched out, lying, totally relaxed. They had no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is?" Again, everybody raised their hand. Then Dr. Peale said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. And there are some people lying there, all stretched out, totally relaxed. They have no problem whatsoever. Folks, then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Nobody raised a hand. Everybody put their hand in the pocket. Then Dr. Peale said, remember, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problems, we'd be dead. And when we are running short of problems, that is the time to get on your knees and pray to God. If you stop trusting me anymore, send me some problems. Folks, that day, Dr. Peale gave a prayer, which probably was somebody else given 2,000 years ago. And it is called the Serenity Prayer. I'll repeat twice. It goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. I repeat, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. Folks, I have been using this prayer for the past 45 years. And I have come across many adverse situations in my life, and this prayer has helped me overcome. Now, if you analyze and dissect this little prayer, it is the crux of life. It goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, question is, can we change everything in this world? Answer is no. Do we control everything outside us? No. Obviously, we cannot change everything nor control everything. There are many things beyond us, such as, I didn't choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, and neither did you. And granted, sometimes people are born deformed. What wrong did they do? And granted, sometimes bad things do happen to good people for no fault of their own. What wrong did they do? Who knows? How did this crisis come? I don't know, but it's here. It says, what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. Because many times in life, we keep fighting the things we just cannot change, and we bring stress into our lives, and we become paralyzed, and we become unproductive. So if I can't change, let me accept it graciously, and if I can, then give me the guts and courage to do it, and wisdom to know what I can and what I cannot. Now, folks, when I wrote my new book last year, You Can Achieve More, which was launched in London. And I took this thought and took it 2 steps forward. And I wrote in my book, life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. Seems like a contradiction, but not really. Now, how is life full of choices? Folks, if I ill-treat you, I've chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? If I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? If I light up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? If I drink and drive, I've chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? If I exercise every day, I've chosen to invite good health, haven't I? If I eat too much, I've chosen to be obese, haven't I? See, if I tell lies, I've chosen to lose my credibility, haven't I? And if I tell the truth, I've chosen to become a credible person, haven't I? See, folks, life is full of choices. Now, we are all free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. Now, how is life full of compromises? Folks, as somebody well said, we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose is how we play the game. And sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That's a choice. Now, folks, what is success? Series of positive choices in life is called success. And series of negative choices in life is called failure. Now, sometimes people ask me, Mr. Khera, people who are successful, don't they make mistakes in life? And people who are failures, don't they do positive things in life? And my answer is, people who are successful, they do make mistakes. But remember, making a mistake once in a while does not make a person a failure. Repeating the same mistake again and again is what brings failure. And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success either. Doing the same positive behavior again and again is what brings success. Folks, we need to understand the Serenity Prayer helped me tremendously, number one. Number two, step two. Folks, to overcome this crisis, limit your exposure to news. Only twice a day, 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. Why? Because news is so negative. Why? It is depressing. If you notice, there are some people who wake up in the morning and they turn the TV on. And what do they see? The score. As if there's a cricket match going on between India and Australia. And what score are they checking? How many infected, how many died, how many infected, how many died, how many infected, how many died. They watch a channel for 1.5 hours, 2 hours. Then they switch another channel as if the score is going to change. They watch it for another hour there, another hour here, another hour here, another hour here. And from morning till night, 13 hours, they're watching the same news, how many infected, how many died, how many infected, and they watch that stuff. And at night, after 14 hours, the man says, I'm depressed. Of course you'll be depressed because you've been feeding your mind with all negativity since morning till night. And the more depressed you are, your immunity drops and your chance of catching a virus are much greater. Limit your exposure to news only twice a day, 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening, and that's about it. Stay away from negative things. Step three. Folks, convert your downtime to uptime. Convert your wasted time to productive time. Folks, I was reading the other day, Nelson Mandela was in jail for 27 years. Somebody asked him, Mr. Mandela, how did you survive 27 years? And Mandela said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. Man, what a message. He said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. From there, I deciphered a quote which says, I will not let this crisis define me. I will use this crisis to refine me. I repeat, I will not let this crisis define me. I will use this crisis to refine me. Now, folks, how do you convert downtime to uptime? Before the crisis, in the US, there was a survey conducted which said an average American watches 3 to 4 hours of TV per day. Folks, this is not only the average American, but European, Indian, Asian, Australian. They come from work 7 o'clock until 10:30, 11, they watch TV. 3 to 4 hours of TV per day. Somebody asked a question, how much does this TV cost you? He said, I really don't know. He said, if you watch TV 4 hours a day, and if you make $100,000 per year, your average rate per hour is $50. And if you watch 4 hours, that is $200 per day, 365 days a year. This TV is costing you $65,000 per year. That is more than your EMI on a $500,000 home. Folks, don't get me wrong. We all like to watch TV, and it is good. It is relaxing. I watch a nice movie, a play. It is relaxing. But watching 4 hours a day, 3 hours a day, what are you doing? You are wasting your life and paying those people who are acting there, and you are paying for them. They're not watching it, you're watching it. Folks, in my book, You Can Achieve More, I have quoted a survey which said 85% of millionaires and billionaires in the world are first generation. Only 15% are coming from inheritance. Now, these people were asked, how did you get so much financial success in such a short time? And they said, we read books. What kind of books and how many books? And the answer was, we read only self-help books. We don't read fiction. Fiction is fiction, will remain fiction. But from a self-help book, one good idea is worth $1 million. He said, we have no time to waste. They only read self-help books. And two is, how many books do they read? They read 50 books a year. 50 books means one book a week. Imagine multimillionaires, billionaires read one book a week. And I was reading Warren Buffett the other day on a video said he reads 6 to 8 hours per day. He's an avid reader. Bill Gates is an avid reader. Now, why should a person read? And what is the connection? Because a good book gives you wisdom of ages in a capsule form. And folks, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You see, people have followed the path to success. Follow that path. You avoid pitfalls, cut short the whole thing. You have a pathway to success. Why reinvent the wheel? Now, important thing is, you find a serious reader will never lend or borrow books, never. Many times people come to me and say, Mr. Khera, I got a great new book, I can lend it to you. I said, don't. Either give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me. Don't lend it to me. Why? Because I won't give it back to you. Why? Because when I read a good book, I underline, mark, make notes on the side. Why? Because I learned one thing. Reading a good book once is not good enough. Why? Because when you read a good book the second time, you don't find anything new in the book. You find something new in yourself. And when you read a good book the third time, you don't find anything new in the book. You find something new in yourself. And fourth time, and fifth time, and sixth time. You know, when people say, I have read your book once, I said, you wasted your time. Reading a good book once is not good enough. You know why? Because when you read a good book only once, you read it for passing time or entertainment. Folks, there are books I've read 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Reading a good book once is not good enough. But there are people who say, I don't have the time, I don't have the money. Look at this. Multi-billionaires, billionaires read books. What does it tell us? That there is a connection between learning and earning and learning and earning and learning and earning. You learn and you earn. Folks, there are people who are unemployed. They have all the time in the world, but they won't pull out time. An average American reads one book a year, only fiction only. That's about it. And many times people say, when I have the money, I'll buy the books. You know something? They're all excuses, because today you can get every book for free in a library. They will never do it. You give them everything in life, they will never do it. Now, folks, I used to read a lot of books, 20, 30 books a year. But in between, I dropped my habit. But after the lockdown, I went into my office, started cleaning up, and I found in my own library alone, I have 250,000 books, which is more than many libraries have. And many books I read, I saw half read. I brought them up, started reading them. One morning I was reading till 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't wake up till 2 o'clock, but who cares? I wasn't wasting time watching TV. Now, folks, all I can say is, from this crisis, if you have not come out more upskilled, to more knowledgeable and healthier and fitter, it is not because we lack time, but because we lack commitment and self-discipline. I repeat, 3 things. From this crisis, if we have not come out more upskilled, more knowledgeable, and healthier and fitter, it is not because we lack time, but because we lack self-discipline and commitment. Why I say these 3 things? Folks, till about 3 months ago, I'm not a techie. I was learning to do SMS from my grandchildren. My first webinar I did in April on 8th, if I'm not mistaken. And folks, till then, I had not turned a computer on. I had never sent an email. But since then, I have upskilled, I have learned to use the webinars, and I have done almost 60 webinars in the last 70 days. 60 webinars, and some twice a day. And many people are paying us for it too. And we're already giving out dates till November end, and some January. So I have upskilled myself during this period. It has opened up a totally new business opportunity for me. 2, I started reading my books back again. I'm getting my knowledge. And 3, I put in 3 to 4 hours every day in reading good books or something happening. And my next new book is coming out next year again. So my manuscript will be done another 2 months. And 3rd, I've lost 6 kilos of weight. I'm exercising. I'm enjoying life, man. This is fun. Folks, all I can say is, if from this crisis, if you have not upskilled yourself or become more knowledgeable or become healthier and fitter, you cannot blame we don't have time. We lack self-discipline and commitment. Convert your wasted time to productive time. Step 4. Step 4, I get phone calls from many people. They think I have the answers, which I don't. But anyway, many times people call me and say, Mr. Khera, I'm bored. I'm feeling depressed. What do I do? Folks, what I have to tell them, I tell them. But for my webinar here today, I've learned one thing. Only boring people in life are bored. I repeat, only boring people in life are bored. And this is the difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the pain of being alone, and solitude is the pleasure of being alone, which means I am at peace with myself. I enjoy my company. Now, what is the way to overcome depression? A world famous psychiatrist was a man by the name of Dr. Carl Menninger. Menninger Clinic is considered to be the last word in psychiatry in the US right now. Somebody went to Dr. Menninger and said, Doc, if you knew for sure that one of your patients was coming up with an attack of depression, what treatment would you prescribe? They thought he would write a medication. Dr. Menninger said, if I knew that one of my patients was coming up with an attack of depression, I will tell them, go home, lock yourself out of the house, go to the other side of town, look for somebody who is in trouble, help them, and your depression will go away automatically. Folks, think about it. What is he talking? He said, look for somebody who's in trouble, help them, and your depression will go away automatically. A world-famous psychiatrist is giving a treatment for depression. You know something, folks? As somebody said, may or may not be totally true, but a lot of truth in it. You see, they say, poor people don't get depressed. They're so busy earning a living, they have no time to get depressed. Depression is the disease of the rich. They have all the time to get depressed. Folks, I do some fundraising for the Rotaries, the Lions, and the Round Table. And interestingly, I find they are so busy with setting up eye camp, blood camp, polio eradication, doing something, they have no time to get depressed. What a prescription for depression by a world-famous psychiatrist. Okay, step 5. Step 5, way to overcome this crisis is, folks, build strong relationships in life. I repeat, build strong relationships in life. Your relationships are your biggest support group in life. From my book, You Can Win, I'm going to share one little story. There were two childhood friends, Bill and Harry. They went to school together, college together. They joined the army, war broke out, and they were fighting in the same unit. Bullets were flying all over. From the darkness, a voice came, Harry, I'm hurt. Please come and help me. So he knew right away this was his childhood friend, Bill. So he asked Captain, can I go? Captain said, no. Look at the way bullets are flying. You could be dead. I could be short-handed. And the way Bill is sounding, I don't think he will live anyway. So Harry kept quiet. But then the voice came again, Harry, I'm hurt. Please come and help me. Since he had been refused the first time, he did not have the guts to ask the second time. But then the voice came the third time, fourth time, fifth time. Harry, I'm hurt. Please come and help me. Fifth time, Harry couldn't hold himself. He said, Captain, this is my childhood friend. I must go. Captain said, okay, go. So Harry crawled through the darkness, went to Bill, grabbed him, dragged him back, threw him into the trench, fell over him, and they found Bill dead. That was his dead body. When Captain saw Bill dead, he got angry. He said, didn't I tell you, you shouldn't have gone. You could have been killed. I could have been short-handed. And he didn't make any way. He said, Harry, you made a mistake. Harry said, no, Captain, I did not make a mistake. Because when I reached Bill and grabbed him, he wasn't dead. His last words were, Harry, I knew you would come. His last words were, Harry, I knew you would come. I did not make a mistake, Captain. Folks, this is how crucial good relationships are in life. And when there's a good one, it needs to be nurtured and cherished. Now, folks, you see, keep in mind, our biggest asset in life is not our bank balance. Our biggest asset in life is our relationship balance. Folks, people who have good relationships, have you noticed what they can achieve with one phone call? You cannot achieve with $1 million. I repeat, English language. People who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. Now, folks, what relationship are we talking about? Personally, professionally, and socially. Now, when we talk of personal relationships, God forbid, if any one of us was in the hospital tonight How many people will be around us? Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, no more. That's it. And sadly, those are the ones we take them for granted, and they're the ones most neglected. Folks, I repeat, people who are emotionally strong, they are bonding stronger. They're actually coming out stronger from this crisis. And people who are emotionally weak, they're falling apart. And if you don't patch up and bond today, you'll fall apart anyway tomorrow. Now, you see, folks, to build relationships, sometimes, in fact, Harvard University came up with a study which said people who have good, strong relationships, they live healthier, happier lives, longer lives too. But there are some people, in order to build such friendships, relationships, whatever you call it, they join groups like the Chamber of Commerce's, Rotaries, Lions. You know what the purpose is? To build contacts. There's a big difference between relationship and contacts. You see, they are going to do network. You know what network means? Oh, let's get connected with them. Let's build contacts with them. Why? Because someday he could be useful to you. Man, build usefulness. He's a cop, he's a lawyer, he's a mafia, he's a politician, he's a money guy, he's a doctor, he's a lawyer. What? He could be useful. You know something? Usefulness goes, friendship also goes. Folks, these people are not building relationships, they're only building contacts. They're parasites, rascals, selfish people. They're only takers. You can never build relationship with people who are only takers in life. Absolutely not. Folks, we have an office in Singapore. One evening I came from dinner and a man saw my suit and tie. He said, "You came from dinner?" I said, "Yes." "You met some people?" I said, "Yes." And his first thing was, "I hope you met some people who could be useful to you." When he said, "I hope you met some people who could be useful to you," I felt like giving him a piece of my mind and something more too. This person can only think of one thing: usefulness. He's a parasite rascal looking to extract. He doesn't understand meeting good people in life is good enough. He's only looking for what he can get out of you. He's only building contacts, not relationships. I repeat, he's building contacts, not relationships. Keep in mind, folks, helping each other is a duty of a friend. I repeat, if I have a friend for 20 years, and tonight if he has a problem, who is the most natural person he will come for help to? Obviously, the friend for 20 years. He's not going to make new friends tonight. Now, is it my duty to help? Answer is yes. And if I help him, am I doing a favor? No. If I don't help him, am I behaving like a friend? Answer is no. Folks, remember one thing. Helping each other is a duty of a friend. It is never the purpose of friendship. If it is the purpose, then purpose finishes, friendship finishes also. Helping each other is a duty of a friend. Remember, never the purpose of friendship. It is always incidental to friendship. I repeat, it is always incidental to friendship. Never the purpose of friendship. Now, folks, there are 4 kinds of friendships in life. One is called friendship of convenience. I have a person, my neighbor, the same age, kids, go to same school, we carpool together, have dinner together, laugh with each other, and logistically, if I have a problem, he's right next door. It is convenient to be together. Convenience goes, friendship also goes. Second kind of friendship is friendship of usefulness. It could be useful someday. Usefulness goes, friendship also goes. Third friendship is called when you have a common enemy. Common enemy goes, friendship also goes. And fourth kind of friendship is built on what? On mutual respect. I repeat, the word is mutual respect, not tolerance. You keep hearing the word tolerance is a good word. In my vocabulary, it's not a great word. Folks, hear this carefully. I and my wife live together, not because we can tolerate each other. We live together because we respect each other. The day respect for each other goes, we can't live together. Folks, if we live together only because we can tolerate each other, you know what we're doing? Postponing the blast. The moment I have an option, I'll kick her out or she'll kick me out. Folks, same thing. Employers and employees work long-term together, not because they tolerate each other. They work long-term together because they respect each other. It is mutual respect. And relationships are built on when you have common values. And remember, relationships, to build a long-term relationship, you need to add a value addition to another person's life. You need to learn to give. You can't be a taker and be a parasite and a rascal and selfish person. You know something, folks? All that I'm sharing with you today on the webinar today, they don't teach these stuff in schools and colleges. My two girls have gone to college in the US. They've done their masters there. They don't teach all these things. The dean of business school from Australia, James Cook University, came through my program. And they've signed up, partnered with us now. We're setting up a center of leadership excellence for them in Singapore campus. And we created a program for them called, when we do corporate training, we tell people, what we're doing in your corporation today is repair work. Now, if you prepare them, you won't have to repair them. Where do you prepare them? You prepare them in schools and colleges. So we created a program called Repair, Don't Repair. Prepare them, don't repair them. Well, anyway, build strong relationships. Yeah, number six, become a proactive person. Folks, people are reactive. We want to become a proactive person. Many times when we do a 3 or 4 day leadership program, we ask people, are you a good person? So when you ask them by surprise, sometimes they get lost. I'm not sure. If other people think, I'm not sure, so on. And once in a while, they do say, yes, I'm good. But then you ask, what makes you good? Then they say, well, I don't do bad, so I'm good. I don't tell lies, I don't steal, I don't cheat, so I'm good. And my answer to them is, sir, I disagree with your answer. Folks, not doing bad does not make a person good. See, folks, if I don't tell lies, it only means I'm not a liar, I'm not a cheat, and I don't steal, I'm not a thief. But that does not make me good. Go ask a medical doctor. Absence of ill health does not mean good health. I don't know if Sangeeta is right here, she coming from the medical side. Absence of ill health does not mean good health. Similarly, absence of fault does not make a person good. A person becomes good when they proactively do good. Now, why am I sharing this with you? For a very important reason, and that is, see, you hear the word compassion is a good word. It is very important. That is true. Now, I have been doing leadership training for the last probably 30, 35 years with Fortune 50 companies, Lufthansa, Johnson & Johnson. And I've learned one thing, that a good leader takes a stand for something and it takes a stand against something. All my life, I've not been a neutral person. You take a stand for something, you take a stand against something. If you're neutral, you're a politician. I repeat, if you're a neutral, you're a politician. Now, why do I share this? See, we keep hearing the word compassion is a good word. That is true. But I have no compassion for enemies of humanity. Now, who do I call enemies of humanity? I've seen videos from New York, Europe, India, and I've seen where healthcare professionals, nurses and doctors are being beaten up, and people are throwing stones at them. They're spitting at them. They're spitting at the cops, and they're spitting on the food. They're spitting on vegetables. They're spitting on fruits, and they're spitting on home delivery pizzas, knowing fully well if I spit, this person could be dead. Is this not called sadistic behavior? Don't you call them enemies of humanity? Folks, I have no compassion for enemies of humanity. Now, why do I share this with you? Very important reason. I finished a program, there were 5,000-6,000 people. And one person from the audience came up and he asked me, Mr. Khera, are you a Gandhian? I learned one thing. Don't answer a question till you clarify. And two, many times the best answer to a question is a question. So I asked him, sir, can you define what a Gandhian is to me or to you? What are the criteria of being a Gandhian? And what are the principles of being a Gandhian? So man thought a little and he says, Gandhi believed in 3 principles. 1, Gandhi believed that with love you can win everybody in this world. 2, Gandhi believed in tolerance. 3, Gandhi believed in non-violence. 3 principles of Gandhi. Then he looked at me and said, are you a Gandhian? Now, I don't know what came to my mind at that time, on the spur of the moment. I said, look, folks, I've been living in the US for the past 45 years, but I'm an Indian. And we do respect our epics like the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita. We respect them. I've not read them, but I've heard them. So I don't know what came to my mind. I just asked this man. I said, sir, can you tell me, was Ram a Gandhian? Was Ram a Gandhian? Let us look at the 3 principles of being a Gandhian. 1, with love you can win everybody. Was Ram able to win everybody with love? Answer is a big no. 2, you said tolerance. Did Ram say, I'm a very tolerant person? You kidnap my wife away, I'll get a second one. You'll kidnap a second one, I'll get a third one. You'll kidnap a third one, I'll get a fourth one. Did he say that? He said, no, I don't tolerate kidnappers. And 3, you said non-violence. I said, tell me, what did Ram do? He had to pull out his weapon and kill and destroy the evil. Even for self-defense, he had to kill. And that is still called violence. So I said, well, then Ram was not a Gandhian. I said, why go that far? Go back into our own history, the life history of 10 Sikh gurus. The 10th Sikh guru, Guru Gobind Singh Sahib. Let us see, when the Mughals were forcibly converting people into Islam, was he able to win with love? Answer is no. 2, did he say, I will tolerate your terrorism? He said no. 3, did he have to pull out the weapon? Answer is yes. So he was not a Gandhian either. I said, you need to understand, when the enemies are auctioning the respect and dignity of your women and children, not fighting is called cowardice. Not fighting is called cowardice. And people talk of the scriptures. Show me one scripture which says that when enemies are auctioning the respect and dignity of your women and children, that at that time you should go into the temples and do prayers at that time, bhajan kirtan, or do meditation. There is the time to fight. So Ram was not a Gandhian. Ram took a stand for something and he took a stand against something. Ram was not neutral. And I said to the man, I said, sir, I am not a Gandhian. Get that clear. You need to be a proactive person. In being a leader, you must take a stand for something and take a stand against something. You can't be neutral. And if you want to be, then go become a politician. And number seven. Folks, very important. Faith gives strength, but blind faith leading to superstition weakens people. Why am I sharing this with you? Because I feel one of the biggest damage done to India has been done by our Indian media, the print media, electronic media, because the moment you turn the TV on, what do you see? There are people wearing the saffron or white clothes and putting 3 tilaks here and 5 tilaks here. And the person there is Maharaj, Bhagwan, Swamiji, somewhere, Guruji, and he says, tell me, where are you calling from? What is your name? What is your date of birth? What is your time of birth? Oh, Guruji, I don't know. And he says, koi baat nahi beta. Many people are, well, most people are from India here. I can talk a little bit of Hindi here. And Guruji, he says, and I'll find out. And he does tick, 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 tick. And then he says, you have Patni dosh, Putri dosh, Pita dosh, Phalana dosh, Ye dosh, Wo dosh. And then you have Manglik, Manglik, Manglik. And then he says, aapke upar Shani chad gaya, Shani chad gaya, Shani chad gaya. And now he says, Shani chad gaya, Shani utarne ka upay kya hai? He says, all right, I'll tell you the upay. He says, एक काला रुमाल लीजिए, उसमें काली दाल डालिए, उसमें काला काजल लगाइए, उसमें काले बाल वाला खोजिए, 7 बारी खोपड़ी पे घुमाइए, काला कुत्ता खोजो, काला बर्तन खोजो. What a joke. Folks, let me ask you one question. If it is so easy to get Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, then why don't we send Shani to Pakistan and destroy all the terrorists there? If it's so easy to get Shani in and Shani out, then why don't we send Shani to Ladakh and tell Shani to fight the Chinese? I want to ask my viewers here, why doesn't Shani go to Australia? Why is he permanently sitting here? Why doesn't Shani go to New Zealand? What a joke. Folks, if you look life history, and every Saturday, what do you see? 7 chilies and 1 nimbu. Everybody's selling all around, and permanently keep them in your pocket. You'll get never Shani, will never come to you. Folks, my question to you is, if you look at life histories of Swami Vivekananda, Swami Dayanand, Guru Nanak, they never believed in all these things. In fact, they fought against it. Go look at their life histories. Go look at Guru Nanak's life. In fact, in Sikh families, they never ever tell you horoscopes. There is no Manglik. They don't find any good omen date. All Sikh weddings are done on a Sunday. Sunday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Saturday. Saturday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Friday. Folks, why am I sharing this with you? For one simple reason. There was an article in India Today, I think about a year and a half ago, which said, because of astrology and superstition, and again, if Dr. Reddy is there, because of superstition and astrology, natural childbirth in India has gone down by 80%. And especially they quoted South India and 3 cities, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Madras. And they said in South India, 80% of childbirth is taking place through C-section and operation. You know why? Some astrologers said, this is good time to pull out the child, good omen. What a joke. And there are people going there by the thousands and thousands, and they touch their feet. This person should be in jail. We have no self-respect and dignity at all. There are Babas there, you go there, Baba ji, kya kare, and he says, preet karo, preet karo. One Baba is selling preet, another Baba is selling honey, another Baba is mixing honey, preet together, selling together. What a joke. Folks, why am I sharing this with you? Show me one person in the world who does not have up and down. We all have ups and downs. Everybody has it. But people who are going to get somewhere in life, they accept responsibility. When they are down, they analyze the situation and they learn from it. And they ask, if a similar situation comes, would I behave the same way? If they would, they have not learned anything. And they learn from it and accept responsibility, and they don't repeat the same mistake again. But people who don't want to accept responsibility, you know what they say when things go wrong? Not my fault, my stars are not favoring me. And they never learn from anything, and they keep repeating the same mistake again and again and again. Folks, I say one more time, faith gives strength. Blind faith weakens people. That coming from superstition. Now, I had one program, I think 4 weeks ago I did. There were almost 100,000 people. And one person had a question. Mr. Khera, there are people who go to temples and they wait in line for 12 hours, 14 hours to get darshan. Is that faith or blind faith? Folks, this is the way I answered. I said, look, I believe in God. I pray every day. Before I leave my home, I do my prayer every day. Have I seen God? Do I know what is God? Where is God? I have no idea. Now, why do I believe in God? Is it because I believe in miracles or mysteries? I don't know. But there are many things beyond explanation. Many, many things beyond explanation. And whether you call them superpower or God, it is up to you. But there is a superpower which is beyond human, and which is I call it God, and that's it. But I do my prayer every day. But keep in mind, in the last 45 years, barring once or twice, I have not gone to any temple. And I feel very strongly that 90% people who are temple goers, they go there more out of fear than out of faith. Because people are scared that you don't do this, this will happen. You don't do this, this will happen. You don't do this, this will happen. And they extract out of them. Folks, all I can say is faith gives strength. Blind faith leading to superstition weakens people. It's absolutely sad. I'll share with you one incident. Indian Oil is a client of mine. Once I was doing a program for them in Assam. As I was coming to the airport, my assistant was sitting in front. I was at the back reading a book. And all of a sudden, the driver hit the brake hard. The car came to a screeching halt. My assistant went flying one side, my book went flying the other side, and I asked the driver, I said, what happened? Of course, the conversation was in Hindi. He says, "Saab, billi रास्ता काट गई." मैंने कहा, भाई अब क्या होगा? कहता, साहब अब चले जाएंगे तो अपशगुन हो जाएगा, नुकसान हो जाएगा. I said, if I miss my flight, that will be bad. That is biggest अपशगुन, नुकसान. So I asked him, साहब अब क्या करोगे? कहते, साहब अब रोक देंगे गाड़ी. I said, how long? कहता, till somebody else passes through. तो मैंने कहा उसका नुकसान हो जाएगा, बोले उसकी प्रॉब्लम. That is his problem. As if he was an expert on the billy part. Then I asked him, I said, supposing you were 15 yards behind, and supposing the billy had crossed before, and supposing you had not seen the billy, in that case, what would have happened? Then you would have been the first car anyway. Folks, he did not think more than 2 seconds to give me an answer. He said, "Sir, in that case, billy ki power kam ho jati hai, sir." Man, what a guy. It says he has done a PhD on billies. In that case, billy ki power kam ho jati hai. You know something, some people might be laughing. There are MBAs, PhDs doing this. If I share with you more, you'll be shocked. The kind of things that people are doing out there. Okay, I repeat, faith gives strength, but blind faith leading to superstition weakens people. Okay, lastly, last item is, this is time to give back. Folks, I've seen many videos from all over the world, US, Europe, India, and in many places. There are many, many, many good people who are donating, giving money, time, food to help the underprivileged. We also put a little bit, whatever, we are privileged because we have a good home and we have good food. We're thankful to God, but many people don't have it. It is time to give back. It is time to give back. And many good people are giving a lot, but there is one community who has been honored as a community for the humanitarian service by the government of Canada, United States, government of UK, government of Australia, government of New Zealand. One community has been honored as a community for humanitarian services, and that community is the Sikh community from India. The Sikh community. Folks, you know something, even before this crisis came, they were helping everybody all over the world. Because the Sikh philosophy goes like this. The concept of langar and feeding the poor has been going on for hundreds of years. And today millions of people are getting food every day. You know why? Because the Sikh philosophy, the Guru Granth Sahib is teaching us, because the Sikh philosophy is they teach to be a caring person. They're caring people. 2, they're sharing people. And 3, they're daring people. I repeat, they're caring people, they care. They're sharing people, they share. And they're daring people, they dare. They have the guts and courage to fight evil too. Look at that Sikh boy Gurtej, killed 12 Chinese before he went. Folks, the Sikh philosophy stands on 3 principles. Nam jap kirat kar one chak. Nam jap, name one God. 2, and God is nirakar. There is no akar. 1, 2, nam jap, one chak is sharing concept. And kiratkar. Kiratkar is concept of working hard. Everything, work hard. You will not find one Sikh as a beggar in this world. One Sikh beggar. You know what? This is not ego. This is not ego. This is dignity of labor. They don't have a problem washing the bathroom. Nothing is below dignity. And you see, in the Sikh, there is no caste. The 10th Guru said, every Sikh man is a Singh. There is no last name. Every Sikh woman is a Kaur. There is no last name. I wish in India we had adopted the Sikh philosophy and the philosophy of the Guru Granth Sahib in this country instead of our own constitution. This country would have been a totally different country. Why do I share this? Time to give back. There was a man by the name of Lafayette in France. He was a multimillionaire. He had warehouses full of grains. A drought came in and people were starving. And the advisor to Lafayette said, Mr. Lafayette, they will pay anything today for food. This is time to multiply your money 10x, 100x. And Lafayette said, no, you don't understand. They were good times. They were laughing, we were laughing. They were making money, we were making money. These are not good times. These are times to open up the warehouses, give it free. You know something? It is people like that who make this world livable. I want to close this program today by saying only one thing. That when we do our 3 or 4 day programs, we do talk of financial independence, money. And people from the audience come up and say, Mr. Khera, money is not important. So I have written in my book, people who say money is not important, either they are stupid or they're billionaires. And many times they say, well, money doesn't buy you happiness. So my question is, does poverty get you happiness? And if I have to be unhappy, I would rather be unhappy with money than without money. And then they say, well, money is the root of all evils. I said, no, 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 no. Money is not the root of all evils. Money is only a medium of exchange. And money is a reward you give me for providing you goods and services. The more the good servants I provide you, the more you reward me with money. What is wrong with this one? This is the distinction between making money versus earning money. Making money is criminal, earning money is spiritual. You see, you earn money through energy and ethics. And sadly, most people want to make money. Very few want to earn money. And my answer is, money is not the root of all evils. It is the love of money which is the root of all evils. Loving money using people, you got it wrong. Loving people using money, you got it right. And folks, keep in mind, I did not say money is the most important thing in this world. I didn't say that, but money is very important. And sadly, many times in the pursuit of money, we lose out the things money just cannot buy. And sadly, the most precious things in life, money just cannot buy. See, folks, money can buy you amusement, but not happiness. Money can buy you books, but not wisdom. Money can buy you a bed, but not sleep. Money can buy you a companion, but not a friend. Money can buy you comfort, but not happiness. Money can buy you food, but not appetite. Money can buy you a house, but not a home. Money can buy you medicine, but not good health. Money can buy you a ring, but not a marriage. The most precious things in life, money just cannot buy. But keep in mind, money is very important. Now, folks, I'd like to close this program. Whenever we do our leadership program, I say one thing. And since this is FICCI, Chamber of Commerce, many people are entrepreneurs, business people, I say one thing. Remember, it is the moral obligation of every good human being to become a multi-millionaire and a billionaire. I repeat, it is the moral obligation of every good human being to become a multi-millionaire and a billionaire. You know why? Because I learned one thing, money in good hands always does good, and money in evil hands always does evil. Now, I was doing a program for VHNI. HNI stands for high net worth individuals. VNI, very high net worth, means people in excess of $250 million. So as I finished the program, one person from the audience came up and he asked me, Mr. Khera, there are billionaires. They don't need any more money. They have enough for many generations. Why do they keep making more and more and more when they don't need it? I said there are two kinds of billionaires in this world. One billionaire has billions but keeps making more to keep a score. He's suffering from inferiority complex, and the score is he keeps measuring, how come they have this, I don't have it? How come they have this, I don't have it? How come they have this, I don't have it? How come they have, I don't have it? All right, if they have 50 million, I must have 100. Here 100, I must make 200. But 200, I must make 300 million. The 300, I must make 400. Because if I have less, I'm inferior if I have less. You know what? Sadly, they don't understand. What they're doing is they are measuring their self-worth by their net worth. I repeat, they're measuring self-worth by their net worth. They don't understand people make things. Things don't make people. They sit on their money like snakes and do nothing. There's a second kind of a millionaire who makes more, they feel the more I have, the more I give. The more I have, the more I give. The more I have, the more I give. Folks, Warren Buffett, I think his net worth is about $60 billion, gave 59 billion in charity. Bill Gates got 33 billion, give 32 charity. And folks, Azim Premji gave $7 billion to charity 6 months ago. Tata organizations give 66% to charity of their profits. Folks, I'll close this program right now. All I can say is, it is a moral obligation of every good human being to become a multi-millionaire and a billionaire. Money in good hands does good. Money in evil hands does evil. Thank you very much. With those words, I'll hand the floor back to you. I think Sangeeta, I don't know if she's there or not. Folks, I hand over the floor back to you. Hello?
That was a fascinating talk, Mr. Khera. I'm waiting for FICCI to start the question answers, I guess.
Okay, and that is...
Mr. Khera, good evening. Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
My name is Harjinder Kaur Talwar. I'm a former president of FICCI Flow and executive member with FICCI. I'm delighted and I feel proud today that you talked about Sikh philosophy. And I do confess that as a business people, we're doing our dharma of earning and doing better and better. My question to you is, I want to ask you, are leaders born, or do we always need a formal education as a management training or some formal training in management to be good leaders? Or are we born as good leaders? Thank you.
Narinder, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, just on the lighter side, if they are not born, where do they come from? Of course they're born. Well, that's the lighter side. But now coming back, look, there is no such thing known as a born doctor. Do you want to be operated by a born doctor or a trained doctor? You want to go to a born doctor, they'll kill you. So same thing, all leaders in this world, they are trained somewhere. They're trained somewhere. It is part of the training. They learn. It is a learned skill. It is a trained skill. So whether it is formal training or informal training, that's a different issue. But yeah, I've been doing leadership training for the past 35 years. It is totally 5,000% a learned skill and a trained skill. I think that's really what the answer is. Yes, we all have some qualities. We are inclined more to do something in life, but you need to push and develop, that's all. Now, obviously, a person who is 4'10" cannot become like a basketball player, like a 6'10". So obviously, there are some things we can't. So we realize that.
Sure. Yeah. Mr. Khera, I just had a call by Ms. Reddy. She had to log off because she had a meeting with PMO, and she's saying a big thanks to you on her behalf. And now I will request, Mr. Santosh to take up from here.
Yes. So Mr. Khera agreed to take 3 questions, and ma'am, as you asked 1 question, so anybody if can ask questions.
May I ask a question? This is SP Shukla.
Yes, please, sir. Sure.
Khera Sahab, wonderful talk. You
Thank you.
must be hearing this sentence from everybody, so I will not repeat.
I'm grateful, sir.
This is the second time I'm listening to you. After more than 20 years, I have this good opportunity. I have a question. You covered a wide spectrum of subjects.
Sure.
You touched upon human nature. You touched upon motivations. You touched upon what drives us, Jadoo Tona, difference between faith and blind faith, society, sharing, caring, daring. This is where I wanted to ask a question, which is part economics and part social system. If capitalism is so good, and you brought out so well the concept of money being in good hands rather than in bad hands. In fact, Guruji ne bhi good people, he had asked them to get scattered and bad people, he had said, you stay in the same village. If capitalism is so good, why is it that every time a crisis comes, most of the private sector needs help to be bailed out repeatedly? Now, I'm a believer in free economy. I'm a believer in free enterprise. As a result, when somebody asks this question that every crisis, it is the government and the public services which are bailing out the private enterprise, we find it very difficult to answer. I will stop here. Kindly do share your thoughts.
Well, basically, when we're talking of the government bailing out private sectors, eventually you have to have, why do you have a reserve bank? Reserve bank, obviously, there is to monitor, and they keep certain reserves. And there is a monitoring authority, which is, we're talking of the bailing out part. But personally, I feel that a good organization, a good government has some kind of a self-corrective system everywhere. You see, you look at a company, a business, why do they have something called a sinking fund? Because if there is a crisis, I mean, you have something to fall back on. As somebody said, well, if you have not planned for the unplanned, you have not planned. I repeat, if you have not planned for the unplanned, you have not planned. My only thing is that, yeah, you have to have some kind of a fallback system. Some kind of a fallback system. And that's why we pay taxes. My friend, we pay very heavy taxes. Do you know the most honest country, Transparency International does studies, and the most honest country in the world is, and the happiest country in the world is, guess which one? Denmark. They're also taxed the highest tax. Denmark, Finland, highest tax, and the happiest country in the world. 6-7 years ago, it was Bhutan. We started from there, and the concept came in. But Denmark is considered to be the happiest country in the world. Reason, one major factor is, and they pay heavy taxes. And one major factor is, a very important thing is a trust factor. They trust the government. They trust the government. They pay a lot. So there has to be some kind of a fallback system, in my opinion. That is why any organization has a sinking fund. That is why you also have, in your business, you have depreciation. Why do you have depreciation? Is your building, is your property falling apart? You have 3-year depreciation. Is it falling apart in 3 years? No, it lasts you 30 years or 10 years. We don't know. But you are creating that reserve for yourself. So I personally think that if there is a central government, whether capitalism, anything, you have to have some kind of a central body which works hand in hand to make sure that the system runs properly and professionally. So
wonderful. Very well. It's a very good concept. Sinking fund, insurance, fallback. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Khera, I'm Gautam Khanna. I run a hospital, and I'm also in the healthcare service committee. Hinduja Hospital I run in Bombay. So firstly, thank you for the wonderful insights. I think the way you described each and every aspect, wonderful. So what I got the message from here is that all the elements, the steps you talked about, will help you become a very, very good individual and a better human being. So the question is, many of these things will take time to develop over, with all your experiences and learning and so on. But most of us have a short-term versus a long-term objective. In the long term, I'm sure it will be great. But in the short term, how does one prioritize and stick to this versus, the short-term objectives of how you get ahead in the corporate world and you handle the people and so on and on. So some thoughts from you on that would really help.
Mr. Khanna, something, we've had 70 years of independence. That's long enough, sir. 2, You have a messed up education system. You know what we do? We blame the Britishers. How long are we going to keep blaming them? We have had 1,000 years of slavery. When are we going to learn? And one lesson we have learned from history is that we have never learned anything anyway. We're repeating the same mistakes again and again and again. You know something? A lady went up to a US president and asked him that I have a 4-year-old boy. I have a 4-year-old boy. And President Jefferson, it was Jefferson. When is the time to start character building for my 4-year-old? You know what he said? He said, lady, you are 4 years too late. Lady, you are 4 years too late. Now, all I can say is you're talking short-term, long-term. If you don't start today, you will ask the same question 50 years from now. Sir, 70 years is a long, long, long time. Do you know the countries like Japan, they were devastated. And Germany, there were no men folks. Anybody who could pick up a gun, Hitler put them into the fight and they died. There were no men folks at the time. The whole nation was built by women. And you know, entire China was built only, all this country that you're seeing has become a superpower and manufacturing hub of the world is 10 years, 10 years. That's all, only 10 years. And sadly, we are not learned and we are making the same mistake again and again. They keep talking of skill development all the time. I heard a guy from Niti Aayog the other day and gave 1.5 hour lecture. I'm not going to name it. He gave 1.5 hour lecture and he says, these are problems, these are solutions, these are problems, these are questions, these are answers, these are questions. After 1.5 hours, there were people who ask questions, and sometimes I don't ask questions in front of public. It can be embarrassing, but since I was a speaker after him, I was there. So I asked him, I said, sir, you had all the questions, you had all the answers. You had all the problems, you had all the solutions, and you are here for 6 years, 7 years. Why are we still in a mess? And I said, you know, you keep talking of skill development. Till you have character development, you can do all skill development you want. You will have nothing in life, zero. They press the wrong button. One more. I don't know if you are aware, about a year and a half ago, they built a huge new highway outside Gurgaon. And yes, it was considered to be their prize victory infrastructure. And they created beautiful lights like Europe and US. They put signage, they put wires, they put all kinds of things there. And guess what? Within less than 48 hours, the villagers came from all around neighborhood and they plucked all the poles and they plucked all the steel and the wires and they sold it as scrap.
Yes, I know.
I said, do your infrastructure. He said, oh, we created infrastructure. So what happened to your infrastructure? Dead? Within 48 hours, you're dead. I said, you don't understand English. You can do all skill development you want. Till there's character development, sir, you can't do a damn thing. You cannot do a damn thing. So, sir, the long-term, short-term, 70 is a long, long time. You don't need more than 5 years to straighten this country out. And people are not stupid. People are good in this country. They're not looking for miracles. They're looking for direction. And we need to see, are we going the right direction? You know something? Only 17 people in this country are holding the country to ransom. Mr. Khanna, are you with me? Only 17 people are holding this country to ransom. Only 17. I'll count these numbers to you. And it will not take more than for one good person to come up. It will not take more than 90 days to get this country on track. 90 days, that's all. We have not had a good leader since Sardar Patel in this country. We need to understand what we are doing. We need to learn to face the facts.
Very well said. Very well said. Thank you. I think character building, absolutely in agreement with that. Thank you so much.
I just had an interview only last week because the judgment from Supreme Court came on Prashant Bhushan. Mr. Khanna, are you there?
Yeah.
Right there, and there were 4 lawyers there. Tulsi KTS Tulsi was there and 2-3 others, and they got me on their system also with them. And they asked me on the corruption in the judiciary. Khanna, you got to hear this. I said, sir, tell me. Recent statistics came that more than 50% of politicians are criminals. More than 50% of politicians are criminal. Criminalization of politics. This is true all over the country now. So I asked him, I said, sir, tell me one thing. If the judiciary had done the job right, could you even get one criminal in the parliament?
Correct.
Hello? If
Correct.
the judiciary was honest, could you even get one criminal in the parliament? So who has betrayed the country first? Judiciary. Now, more than that, anything is, you look at 7-8 years ago, Shanti Bhushan was ex-law minister. He has filed an affidavit and a petition in the Supreme Court with names. He said 8 out of 16 Chief Justices of India are corrupt. He has given names of it. And they put the file under the rug. They did no investigation. Either you investigate or put Shanti Bhushan in jail for contempt. He's going free.
Yep.
You tell me, is this not corruption in the judiciary? You tell me, in a Ram Mandir case, it takes 500 years. In the Sikh riots that took place in 1984, it takes 40 years. They still have not bloody well decided. You tell me, you are talking of money coming in here. You want to bring big chunks of money when you have no redressal system. If there is a problem with anybody, do they go to judiciary? And if they do go to judiciary for 30 years, they're gone. And judiciary protects the criminals and penalizes the honest. Hello, Mr. Khanna.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Now,
Absolutely.
look, I am not just giving problems. There are remedies also. There are solutions. You know, for the last 15 years, 33% of people in judiciary seats are lying vacant. They can't find a judge. 33% out of 130 crores, they can't find a judge. What a disgrace.
Unbelievable.
And also, sir, 3.5 crore cases are pending in the courts today.
Yes.
You tell me, when there is a warlike situation in India, in any country, the government and the army can call all retired army professionals. They have to come back. You tell me, is this not a crisis in this country? Why can't they call all the retired judges back? And one more thing, hospitals, hotels, airports run 3 shifts. Why can't they run 3 shifts here? You don't need any more infrastructure, sir. You got the infrastructure. They can start in the morning at 8 o'clock, go till 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock till night. 2 shifts they can run easily. They need no money. You got the infrastructure right there. I am talking solutions, Mr. Khanna.
Yeah. I think you said somebody needs to give a proper direction. That's the point.
Sir, I'm creating a 21-point program in terms of the solutions to what we are talking, not problems, but solutions to it. And I'm trying to fix up a meeting with the PMO myself. And if they do it, fine. If not, I'm going to go to the press and just move on with it. We have to move on. You can't just be spectators and keep talking like this.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Khera. And I would now request Floor President, Ms. Janvi Fukan, to deliver a vote of thanks, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Khera. I am delighted to propose the vote of thanks for the very inspirational session with you today.
Thank you.
Turning setbacks into comebacks could not have been a more pertinent subject for us today. Mr. Khera, you have given us many takeaways. Master your mindset, set the priorities right. Family is important. Use time productively to focus on solutions, to help one another, to acceptance of imperfections. There are so many points people are jotting down. To actively do good, that a good leader needs to take care and take people along. and to accept responsibility. So we have learned how to cope with the current crisis, to realize our true potential, to prepare for success, to win, motivate ourselves. You have reinforced our pride in our great Sikh philosophy. You have reminded about the prayer that has guided you for the last 45 years, at my personal favorite of the Serenity Prayer. That God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much. And like always, Mr. Khera, your inspiring words have left all of us the indelible mark, and all of us at FICCI Flow, we will take time to introspect, rediscover, and resurrect ourselves from all setbacks in life. I thank all our viewers today for joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
I'll take your leave. Thank you. Certainly, I'll be in touch with you.